Alright folks, it's time for us to dive back into the Blue in the Face playthrough for Halo 3. Over the last 4 episodes, it's plain to see that this game has aged incredibly well. The remastering done in the Master Chief Collection helps the game keep up with the times by smoothing out edges and upping frame rates and field of view, but the core gameplay is unchanged and has stood the test of time. In today's episode, we're going to experience the Flood, one of the last flavors in the Halo cake that we've yet to taste. Let's get started. Alright, we're going to dive into the Floodgate mission. This is the halfway point for the Halo 3 campaign, and this is where we're going to experience the last bit of novel gameplay that Halo 3 and maybe even Halo overall has to offer. We're going to start fighting with the Flood. If I'm remembering correctly, all the games in the original trilogy had Flood for you to fight at some point, but whenever they were first introduced in Combat Evolved, they were a complete curveball, and it's like, what? I'm fighting zombies now? And it was very interesting and shocking, and the same thing can be said for Halo 3. If you are playing the game for the first time and you get to the Floodgate mission, you'll probably be a little bit confused as to what's going on, but again, the game does a decent enough job of filling you in on what's actually happening. So let's get in there and kill some not zombies and have some fun.
The Flood. It's spreading all over the city.
How do we contain it?
Find the crashed Flood ship. Overload its engine core. We either destroy this city or risk losing the entire planet.
Do it.
Chief, make your way to the crash site.
Alright, we've got to destroy the city in order to stop the Flood infestation from spreading. The tone has changed pretty dramatically going into this mission. Everything is foggy and ominous and dark and gritty, where most of the levels that we've been in have been relatively bright. Even when we were in the Crow's Nest, things were well lit enough that I didn't feel like I was in a horror movie, but whenever the Flood come out, things get really creepy. Hey, we got a gravity hammer. I think I'm going to use this thing to crush some Flood. People are dying.
Fall back!
Sergeant, come on!
The hammer is a very satisfying weapon to use, especially the way it interacts with different objects in the game. You can knock a bunch of stuff around. It's very awesome. The developers knew what they were doing when they put this here.
Quickly, let us find their ship. Make short work of this abomination.
Alright. So we should just have to... Where do we have to go, actually? I have no idea. Is it in here? Yeah, I guess so. Oh boy, he's getting eaten. I don't think the battle rifle is going to be super beneficial for me in this level. So the cool thing about the Flood is that they do make you fight a little bit different from the normal enemies. They rush you, they're super aggressive, and they have different forms when compared to the normal Covenant and the Brutes and the Elites and all that stuff. So it really does feel like you're fighting against a zombie infestation in in a very real way. I probably should have saved more ammo in the hammer, because this is nuts right now. The Arbiter's doing work, but I'm struggling out here. But this is actually a really important level from a story perspective, but also from a gameplay perspective, because it is breaking things up in an organic way, where we've been dealing with brutes a lot, as you can see from the dead brute on the floor right now. But it would be kind of dull if the only thing we dealt with for the entirety of this campaign was brutes. So the fact that the Flood exists, from a story standpoint, they're very cool. But from a gameplay perspective as well, they do break up some of the monotony that comes from dealing with the same enemy type for an entire campaign.
I could see it crawling, sliding around beneath their skin. Oh. And then they got up, started to talk. Oh God, their voices. Oh God, no, Make them stop!
Man. The Flood are without a doubt the darkest part of the Halo franchise. They're uncomfortable. They do have an unsettling feeling about them.
This is the carrier, Shadow of Intent. Clear this sector, while we deal with the Flood.
Alright, we got some elites dropping in to help us out, and of course, the music is picking up. I probably am not going to need this one last swing of the hammer, so why don't we just empty this out finally, and then pick something else up. Sword? Yes. Yes. What the f- Okay. I'm just getting dookie blasted right now. I didn't just die 2 times, you died 2 times. Okay, I'm gonna have to play a little bit faster. I was trying to be cool and use the sword, and I kept dying. But maybe I'll just stick with the shotgun for now, and if an opportunity presents itself, I will switch to the sword. Like, there's guys behind us, so I'll chop them up. They even took over some of the elites. That's just proof of how dangerous these guys can be. They can take over anything and use it to fight against us. They've even got control of some Marines, and now we're seeing long-range combat come into play in addition to the close quarters, just random zombie combats. That's what makes the Flood not so brain dead, and the Flood missions themselves not so tired and boring, is that they do interact with you in a similar way to normal types of infantry. So you do have that mix of the rushers and the long range guys and the mid range guys, so it's not just endless hordes for 30 minutes in the mission. They do have some variety mixed within them. We got some of the ranged guys right now. Let's just chuck the grenades out. Yep. There we go. Yeah, not a problem. They're not as difficult to deal with as brutes. Like they're a bit more slow and static. But that's okay. Like I wouldn't be happy with the Flood if they if they responded exactly like their non-infested counterparts. Crap. I mean that was very brutish of them to just punch me in the face and destroy me, but I think you get what I'm saying. Okay, we've got a little bit more of the mission to play through, but we're going to skip ahead through it and watch the remainder of the cutscenes and talk about why they do such a great job of humanizing what is a mostly silent protagonist in Master Chief.
Chief.
Cortana?
High Charity, the Prophet's holy city is on...
Cortana!
Reclaimer. I must act quickly before your construct suffers any further
Wait.
trauma.
Leave her alone.
If we do not take this device to a safe location, somewhere I can make repairs.
On Halo, you tried to kill Cortana. You tried to kill me.
Protocol dictated my response. She had the activation index, and you were going to destroy my installation. You did destroy my installation. Now I have only one function, to help you, Reclaimer, as I always should have done.
That last bit and what's coming up next, these are my favorite parts of the Halo 3 campaign and the cutscenes that are within it, because it shows a slightly more emotional side to Master Chief. Even though he is a silent protagonist for the most part, when he does talk, it's for a good reason. And when he's talking to 343 Guilty Spark, he is very stern and very protective over Cortana, and he shows a lot of emotion whenever he mentions Cortana, and it really does a great job of setting up their relationship. You can think of it as a very deep friendship. You can think of Master Chief as her protector. You can think of it as a partnership, and you can even see it as a romantic relationship. And in Halo 4, the sort of boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic that Master Chief and Cortana had was a bit more apparent. But in this one, we do get a sense that Master Chief takes a lot of ownership over the protection and safekeeping of Cortana. He's very concerned whenever she seems to be in danger.
Will it live, Oracle? Can it be saved?
Uncertain. This storage device has suffered considerable trauma. Its matrices are highly unstable.
Perhaps one of our technicians.
That will not be necessary.
Chief.
Success!
Hi, Charity. The Prophet's holy city is on its way to Earth with an army of Flood. I can't tell you everything. It's not safe. The Gravemind, it knows I'm in the system.
It's just a message.
Let it play.
But it doesn't know about the portal, where it leads. On the other side, there's a solution, a way to stop the Flood, without firing the remaining Halo rings. Hurry, Chief. The Ark. There isn't much time.
I'm sorry.
No matter, Oracle. We've heard enough.
And I have heard enough as well. So we're obviously going to go rescue Cortana and save the galaxy from complete and utter destruction by the end of the campaign. But what is more important to me is the little tiny, subtle bit of character development that Master Chief and Cortana got when you do finally get to rescue her. So we're going to skip ahead to that cutscene and check it out.
You found me. But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me. Do you still have it?
The activation index from the first Halo ring. A little souvenir I hung on to, just in case. Got an escape plan?
Thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little.
Just keep your head down. There's 2 of us in here now, remember?
Oh, I mean, come on. Master Chief is legitimately the most charming and sweet boyfriend on the face of the earth. We could all hope to live up to the gold standard that he has created for us. But seriously, it was very warm and touching the way he was acting in this cutscene. He gets down on one knee to get on the same level as Cortana, to look her eye to eye or eye to sensor, however it works, and to just make sure that she is okay. And it was a very beautiful moment shared between the two characters. But one more thing that is interesting about all this is that Master Chief, in the final cutscene of the game, switches back away from this more warm and caring character to something a bit more cold and unfeeling, where he kind of goes back into soldier mode and just he is what the world and what the galaxy needs him to be, and that is the hero. And he leaves Cortana alone again to fend for herself until she truly needs him and wakes him up. So we're going to watch one more cutscene just to see all of that stuff, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Truth and the Covenant, the Flood, it's finished.
It's finished.
I'll drop a beacon, but it'll be a while before anyone finds us. Years, even. I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
And there it is. It's actually a little bit of a sad ending. I'm not crying, you're crying. It's emotional. And once again, if you've been with the Master Chief and Cortana since Halo 1, this ending will definitely hit you straight in the feels. And then move on to Halo 4, and you'll be crying your eyes out by the final cutscene when Cortana sacrifices herself to save the Master Chief, and then all of it gets ruined in Halo 5. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Halo 3. It's a great game, and I do hope that when Halo Infinite comes out, it pulls on the storytelling style that existed within Halo 3 and Halo 4 and Halo 2 and Halo 1, where they focus on the action and the cool, fun characters like Sergeant Johnson and the more serious characters like the Arbiter. But we also look at Master Chief for what he is. He's a silent protagonist, but he does talk, and he does have feelings and emotions and weight to everything that he says and everything that he does, and he's someone that we would all like to be because he's the hero. So with all of that said, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel more than you already do, you can head over to patreon.com/iBluairJgR to become a patron. As always, the name of the game is Halo 3. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.